let me actually get an informal poll here, because my method for fixing this was to keep, because I want to keep it in there, because you never know, somebody might be running an old daily build or might be running the last public build, in which case they're going to need this fixer. You know, but my method of doing this was to still test it the same old way. So, you know, create a display group, create an object, remove that display group, see if the finalize event's called. You know, another way to fix that would be to check the build number, which we definitely can. And if the build number is greater than or equal to 2544, then I wouldn't need to do it. The reason I left it the way is because you never know. In a future daily build, right, a regression bug might come back, and this might represent itself, in which case it's going to be broken again because the only thing it's checking for is the build number. What do you guys think? Am I smart in doing this, or is this an area where I should just place my trust that, you know, things are going to be okay, and I should go the simpler route, which is just to check the build number?
I have an opinion, but I'm going to let somebody else talk first.
Let's hear it, Ed. Go ahead.
Okay. I think it's a smart choice and acceptable in this case because the impact of doing it is low. Basically, what's going to happen is the first time this module is used, loaded, required, it's going to execute this bit of code. It's going to be invisible to you. It's not going to be an issue visually. It's not going to impinge the performance at all. So it's a rather long piece of code, but it has the benefit of never failing.
Yeah. That's true. Okay.
I would say use the other method if it was costly to test.
Yeah.
It's not.
You know, one thing I realized that I might need to do, though, here is, actually, maybe not. Just because there's a delay in here, what I realize is if I'm actually, I might need to fix this, because because there's a delay here, if somebody requires the module and then immediately after creates a new ring, because there's a timer here before that fix is going to get run, I might need to make, you know, and it can be as simple as a flag. You know, I can set a flag in here, and when you call, you know, progress ring new, you know, check that flag. If it's not true, you know, set a timer there and rerun the same call, you know, 10 milliseconds later or whatever. But I don't know. It opens up.
That's the one failing of. I have the same problem in my code where I do something tricky like what you're doing, and then I run into a scenario where I require and then use it right away, and then I'm like, oh, that code wasn't in place yet.
Yeah, so I might need to look at that. This is all good. This is all my way of saying this thing's going to be better in a week.
Well, it's been improving over time. So
if you ever end up using a unit testing framework, you could put it into another function to test.
To run automated tests on it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All the possible scenarios of what people could do with it, and then try to break your own stuff, basically.
I keep trying to select the screen here, but one thing I know we're running out of time, but we haven't talked about is the color picker.
Let's do that.
And Steve had
with Steve here.
I don't know. You said something about how it came from Steve, or?
It did. So let me see if I can find a way to go to it. So let me see here. If we go here, so this is my. I created again a simple sample, a similar sample project for when I released this. So you've just got sort of this here, and you click here, and it brings up the color picker, and you can change it, and it just, you know, sets that, you know, it sets the fill color for that background image to whatever color you select. So, you know, it brings it up. It's sort of Adobe style, or what I think is Adobe style, where you've got this bar over here. You can, you know, select a color, and then the one thing that I added that wasn't in Steve's original implementation was an alpha channel slider here. But again, I think he and I were. I'll let Steve address that. Actually, we're looking for different things, because I think originally, Steve, it generated a hex number, which is something I didn't need, but I think was useful in your original code. Let me see if I can find that, because I've got. Let me see if I linked to it, because I had a blog post from a year ago. And let's see here.
Right.
Here
In
it is.
my own case, I've since switched that to Corona style event listener. So if you have a color change, it'll just give you the change, and then you can make a hex string if you want. But
Let me see here if I've got. No, I think that's yours actually. And then it's on the old code exchange, and I'll bet you it
My
doesn't.
cruddy old 216 color one.
Oh, it's like buried in the
Back in the day before decent color picking was
the
even
old
a
code
possibility.
exchange where all the old links don't work anymore. But it was really useful. I mean, I definitely mentioned here, I say the closest fit for my needs was a terrific bit of code that somebody with the username StarCrunch, sorry Steve. I didn't know who it was. I got somebody. StarCrunch, I don't know. And I just sort of said that it was close, but again, because of when it was made, it was graphics 1.0, and at the time, I think it didn't. One thing that I like about my progress string is that you can do anything with the returned values, because it does sort of, you specify a handler function when you call it, and then after you pick your color, it runs that function and throws in the RGBA values so that you can do whatever you want with them.
So basically, if anybody wants to get the code for the color picker, though, that's still available today. They can download the sample project and use that.
It is. It's up on my website, and then right at the top there's a SDK tutorials button, and that'll filter out the blog post to just my tutorial stuff, and it's third one down at the moment.
Yeah, which if you guys haven't been over there, definitely recommend checking it out. JasonSchroeder.com. Like Jason's showing us, he's got in-app purchase promo code stuff over there, and color pickers, and there's even a finger painting example, which I thought was, a great way to, just pop up a project that's already been kind of put together and experiment with the function.
All of this is sort of, by the way, me trying. Corona Labs very generously sort of, made me an ambassador a year ago, and I was like, oh, great. And like, so here's what you should do. You should start having events. And I was like, I have 2 kids and a full-time job. I was like, I'm going to start making tutorials on my website.
That qualifies. That
haven't
counts.
kicked me out yet, so.
What, you don't want to go hang out and drink beer and tell people about it?
I would love to do that. My wife would just change the locks on me if I wasn't home to put the kids to sleep.